Welcome to Living in Greenville, South Carolina. We're going to bring you everything Greenville, Greater Greenville, upstate of South Carolina. Hey y'all, welcome to Living in Greenville, South Carolina. My name is Tami Allen. I'm a realtor with eXp Realty, and I love living in the upstate of South Carolina, the Greenville, Spartanburg area. I've lived here since 1985, and there is no place I would rather call home. Now we are going to hop right into the pros and cons of living in Greenville, South Carolina. And we're just going to go straight to number one. We are an ideal location. We're close proximity to everything. The Greenville, Spartanburg area is within 3 hours of just about any activity you can think of to do, whether kayaking, snow skiing, going to the beach, hiking the mountains, going to Atlanta, going to Charlotte. Whatever you want to do, you can do it within about 3 hours, including getting to Gatlinburg, Knoxville area of Tennessee, even down to Charleston, South Carolina, right dipping your toes in the sand and in the water at the Atlantic Ocean. When you drive from I-85 from Charlotte down to Atlanta or vice versa, it's often called the Charlanta corridor. Well, that goes through all the dirt that I sell here in the upstate. So we really are ideal, and it's a wonderful place to live. Now, for pro number two, we have an ideal climate here. Now, I did a short video not long ago going through the climate. I hope you got to see that. If not, be sure to check that out on Instagram and some other platforms. But I will tell you that in this area, we have a true 4 seasons every year. We have summer, which is fantastic. It never really gets too hot here. We have fall, which is wonderful. About the time you're getting tired of the heat of summer, it turns into this beautiful, gorgeous, cool fall, beautiful autumn season here. And it really is wonderful. We're in that right now in this area. We woke up this morning to 32 degrees, which was a little unusual for fall. Yesterday, it was like 63 because we had some cloud cover. So there's a lot of different variances in the weather. If you don't like the weather in South Carolina, hang around for about 15 minutes, it might change. Then you hop right into winter, and it is never severe around here. Like, we can get in some cold temperatures. You're going to have snow maybe 1 to 2 times a year. If it's more than that, it's very unusual. And you know, if it's going to snow, it's not going to be here very long. The kids get out and play quickly in it because they know it will disappear quickly. Now, be ready. Schools will most likely be canceled because we don't have tons of snow equipment around here to really handle big snows of any type. You could have some ice when you're in the area, but it's again, very rare. And the biggest pro about having the ideal climate and in the winter is that you do not need a snow shovel. Woohoo! And then I think spring is probably the most magical time of year in the way that it looks, because everything's blossoming. It's beautiful. And we do have a little pollen. But you can get used to that. So on to pro number 3. This is fantastic. One of my favorites. Southern hospitality lives here, y'all. We love to smile, look at you and say hello, whether we know you or not. You will not meet a stranger typically in this area. We are taught to be polite, say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, please, and thank you. And we don't honk at red lights as soon as they turn green. So remember that tip when you get to the area. So it really is fabulous. Southern hospitality, the friendliness, people are wonderful in this area. Now moving on to pro number 4, and this is one of my favorites as well. Shh, this is a secret. Please don't tell anyone. We have the best airport in the country. We really do. It's fantastic. The Greenville Spartanburg Airport, GSP, are its initials. And that is one of the bonuses of this area. This perfect airport, just the right size. You might get lost at the gates. You've either got A gate or B gate. That's it. We have international flights flying out of our airport every single day. Now, in the great things about our airport, you don't have to be there 2 hours in advance. Typically you can get there 1 hour or so in advance. Security is not usually jammed up. TSA in our security in Greenville, Spartanburg is very friendly. All of the people that are part of the TSA are fabulous. So I think you're going to have a really great experience when you go to the Greenville Spartanburg Airport. Very nice, international, world-class airport, small enough to be wonderful and large enough to get you where you're going. So that's a great one right there. And that brings us to pro number 5. I need a drum roll, please. This one's big. Are you ready? Job creation and opportunity. That's exactly right. Great opportunity for jobs and careers here in the upstate of South Carolina. And the reason being is, first of all, we are the most concentrated area in the state with the most locations of industrial sites and companies. And that gives us a huge advantage because it really boosts our area. Again, great place to find a job and a career in most cases. Now, there's a second big reason for the job creation and the job opportunity, and it's one big part of the industrial part, and that is BMW manufacturing. So BMW Group Plant Spartanburg is the only location in North America for BMW production and manufacturing. And it's interesting to note that here in the upstate, BMW employs over 11,000 employees and produces up to 450,000 vehicles a year. They have that capacity as well. Now they are doing almost all of the X line. They'll be introducing a brand new series of electric vehicles because literally they just announced yesterday that they are doing a $1.7 billion expansion for the electric vehicle production and something to do with the battery as well, that they've partnered with a company. Interesting to note also, this is key, there are over 300 suppliers for BMW in the upstate of South Carolina. So along with other incredible companies like Michelin, Floor Daniel, all sorts of companies in this area, BMW is a critical part and piece of this puzzle. So those are some great pros to living in Greenville, South Carolina. Next, we're going to head on to the cons of living in the upstate of South Carolina. Okay, now we're moving right along to the cons of living. We just covered the pros. We had 5 pros. We're going to have 5 cons here, and I've got them ready. So here we go. Number 1 con of living in Greenville, South Carolina is there are lots of people moving here and we are having growing pains. You'll notice when you get to this area that there's lots of road construction, really from Spartanburg almost all the way through Gaffney on into almost North Carolina, going into Charlotte. I-85 gets really, really crowded, especially in the afternoon. There's usually always a wreck or two. And so you've really got to watch out. Lots and lots of growing pains because of all the people moving here. People moving here is great. We're going to have to be patient and wait for the infrastructure to catch up. So hopefully that's going to improve over the years. Number 2 leads me to the second point. The first one led us to this one, and that is busy roads. And I know people that around the Christmas shopping season that won't even go near Woodruff Road, which is just off of I-85 in Greenville. That's the place where most of the shopping is, including the Costco and the Sam's and, all sorts of shops and things that you can buy and food that you can eat, lots of restaurants. It's a great area, but it will get very, very congested. You're going to get stuck in traffic and it's a little frustrating. So that's when we've all got to be very patient and just hang in there and work with each other. Find that Southern hospitality, dig down deep and find it. And then number 3, now this is one that if you've ever built a pool or built a home in the Greenville, Spartanburg area, you know very well, red clay mud. Let me tell you, if you're going on a new construction site, I'll give you a tip as a new home buyer. If you're looking at new construction, like with me, I'm going to tell you wear some boots because you're going to be walking through a lot of red clay mud. We don't have dark soil here. We don't have sandy soil. We have a very nutrient rich, but red clay mud, and it will get everywhere. And in that red clay, we oftentimes have fire ants, and those little things, boy, they hurt like crazy. I think they somehow migrated into the Americas back in like 1935. I think they made their way all the way to the Carolinas. They're here and they can wreak havoc on you. So that's a personal red clay and fire ant thing that I have. I think it's a con, still not a reason not to move here. This is still an incredible area to live. We'll go on to number 4. Now, our area is very spread out. So if you are used to being able to walk places, unless you get in the very heart of downtown Greenville, the heart of a small downtown like in Greer, maybe Spartanburg, or some of the surrounding areas, if you're in the town, you might be able to walk to a few things. But for the most part, you are going to need a vehicle to get around, and you're going to need to know how to drive. South Carolinas are not known for being the best drivers. I will say that. So with that in mind, let's all practice our driving, and you'll need a car to get around in this area. I'll just give you an idea that driving in Greer, South Carolina, which is like right in between Spartanburg and Greenville, that's actually where BMW is located. In Greer, from one side of Greer to the other side of Greer, it will take you at least 45 minutes, maybe even almost an hour to cover that entire area. And that's a pretty large area. Still, it's wonderful. There's so many good things about living here, but these are just a few cons. And that is going to bring us to con number 5. We're going to talk about winter here for just a second. It doesn't last very long here, but it can wreak some havoc when we get ice. Now, ice is something that we get here often. And yes, we get snow one or two times a year. And when I say often for ice, I mean, if we're anticipating snow, oftentimes it will be ice. And no one is a good driver in ice. I don't care if you've been driving in snow for years and years in Michigan or in New York or wherever you might have a lot of snow, Montana. Here, the ice is what can really wreak havoc, and no one can really drive well on that unless you're a professional ice car, race car driver. So, which there are those folks out there. So, yeah, I mean, another thing about the snow and the ice, oftentimes, if they're predicting it, they will go ahead and call schools. Schools will be out. It does cause some inconvenience for the parents. The kids love it. So that could be a pro or a con, depending on the perspective there. And everyone will rush out to buy bread and milk as soon as they hear the forecast for snow or ice. So just keep that in mind. I'm giving you that so you can get that little tidbit in there and be ahead of the game. I hope you have enjoyed listening to the pros and cons, watching the pros and cons today. I hope you've enjoyed the information we've given you. If you did and you liked the video, please click like below for us. Click on that bell so you get notifications of all the new videos that we're going to be putting on here. And go ahead and comment. Let us know what you'd like to see. We want to do videos that give you great information about the Greenville, Spartanburg area so that you're well informed when you move here, if you're already living here, or if you know someone else that wants to move to this area. This is something you can share with them. So please share. Thank you so much again for watching. And